If you've been charged with a DUI in Southaven, Mississippi, or any other part of DeSoto County, like Olive Branch, Horn Lake, one of those courts, you're probably wondering what's going to happen next. You're probably going online looking for information. You probably are wondering, how much is this going to cost? Especially how much does a lawyer cost for a DUI in Southaven? I'll talk about that. That's not something you can easily find on the internet. Us lawyers, we're not like gas stations. We put our price, outside for everybody to see. You kind of have to call around and price around, and each case is different. Some cases are going to be more complex than others. They're going to require more time than others. So I need to talk to you and see about your case. But I can tell you pretty quickly from an initial phone consult how much it's going to be, and I'll cut to the chase. I'll tell you what I think you should expect to pay for a DUI in Southaven. You should probably be expecting to pay initially a couple thousand to maybe $2,500, and possibly more, depending on how complex it gets. But a couple thousand to $2,500 as your initial retainer is probably what you should expect to be paying in this market. I talk to prospective clients and get as much information as I can about their case, and then tell them how much it will be. I can do that pretty quickly over the phone. It depends on some things like if your case ends up going to trial, it's going to be more, especially if you're a commercial driver. Because if you're a commercial driver, trial's pretty much your only option if you want to have a chance of beating this thing and keeping your license and keeping your job. So commercial, for commercial drivers, is going to be more. If you're a non-commercial driver, if you're a first-time offender, if you want to get the best deal possible, then in that situation, you're going to be that's sort of the simplest outcome, the simplest type of case. But I never like to just tell somebody your case is simple, because I don't know until I get to court. Sometimes when we get to court and I start investigating this and looking into it, I find more information. I find things that may change the case. I try to make it where there's few surprises as possible, but you never know, until you get to court and get into the case, see what's really going to happen. But if it can be worked out where you can put it behind you and give yourself a chance of keeping it off your record and staying out of jail, I think that $2,000 to $2,500 figure, I think that's reasonable, and I think that's something that you can expect from this market. It really just depends, on your case and what you want to do. What are your goals for this case? If you feel that you're absolutely innocent and that you were falsely accused, you aren't going to want to plead guilty. You aren't going to want to go on probation and jump through all those hoops. Some people are willing to do that, and some people would love to do that to be able to keep it off their record. But if you're not, then we have to see what other options are available, but those are going to be more difficult and more time-consuming, and in the end, probably more costly to you, the client. Another factor is court cost and fines and probation fees. Those things add up, and for a DUI case like I'm talking about here, it's going to be over $1,000. It's going to be upwards of close to $1,500 when it's all said and done, what you're paying to the court and to your probation officer. If you've got to get an interlock device, you may have to keep that on anywhere from a few months to a year. Like if you've got a Tennessee license, here in Memphis, a lot of people go into Mississippi for whatever reason and pick up a DUI. But if you want to keep your license and have that interlock device on your car, it's got to be for 1 year under Tennessee law. It's not that long under Mississippi law. But if your license is Tennessee, you got to go by Tennessee rules, and that could be for 1 year. You keep that interlock device on your car, which means you got to pay for that thing every month for 1 year. So those things add up. It just depends on your case, But what I told you, keep those numbers in mind. That's a ballpark figure, and I think that's what you can expect to pay for a DUI in Southaven or Horn Lake or one of those places. Give me a call and tell me more about your case.